All
Cool.
right. Welcome to Section 31, episode number 336. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I'm Rogue Schindler.
This week, we're going to talk briefly about second edition. We didn't have an event or anything, but cards are being spoiled, so we could chat briefly about that. We put an invitation out for the TUI brand manager to join us, but we may have responded way too late in the day for him to see it this week. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us next week. However, we also got, let's see, we're talking about Gen Con because events were posted so we can sign up. I got a bunch of tickets, you got a bunch of tickets, and someone else bought us some expensive tickets. And we've got another con report from you. Where would you go this time?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Is that a drive or a flight?
It was a drive, which was a choice.
It was a choice. Was it the correct choice?
It wasn't bad. It was the first time we had taken a long drive with the baby. She's getting more accustomed. She hated her car seat early on, and she's been getting better and better about it. So we're like, well, it's not. It's kind of that in the toss-up zone, and it's just a big nothing. It was an easy drive. It's just a matter of doing it. So we took the choice, and early on regretted it hardcore. As you are familiar, I think you've driven east, right?
I have driven east.
Once you get to about an hour out, there's a big mess of desert mountains that not a lot of people know about because they're really nothing. But you have to get through them to get anywhere past San Diego County. And it's kind of like taking off or landing for kids who kind of scream for a minute and then they're past it. Only you're constantly going up and down to this winding roads, and it takes like 40 minutes to get through them.
That's a lot of pressure changes, right?
There's a lot of pressure changes, and we didn't even think about it. We're like, man, why is she so upset? Screaming, and it was a long part of the drive. But once we came down out of it, back to sea level in the desert, she was fine. So drive was actually fun, and then it was the same thing on the way back. She was fine for almost the entire time, and then the last 45 minutes was kind of rough. All that said, we got to go to a con, and it was interesting because we were invited for free through some of the work that Caitlin does, making penny blossoms and selling them. So we had badges. So we were able to get a quick hotel, and we just kind of made it like a holiday vacation weekend, and didn't have really a lot invested. The one person I was really interested in seeing canceled early, which was Charlie Cox, who plays Daredevil and also was in Stardust. I wanted to wear my Stardust costume with him for a photo op, and this is my strike two. I keep missing him at cons, so that was a bummer. So we kind of not heavily invested, which turned out to be a really good thing because they have an interesting setup where they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on a holiday weekend that includes a Monday. Not sure how that worked out. No con on Monday, but Thursday is like there's programming all day, but the floor doesn't open until from 4 to 9, so it's a little bit like preview night for San Diego Comic-Con, but they do like the low-key programming, so there's no big names, no autograph tickets, no anything on Thursday. It's all just kind of comics-oriented stuff, so there's still like a lot of the comic in that Comic-Con, which was a cool idea.
Yeah, there's like local vendors and things like that.
Yeah, local vendors and artists, and we found some great people that we enjoyed picking up some of their art. Unfortunately, on that Thursday, somebody decided it would be fun to bring a bag full of guns, and they were caught. Like, they didn't get to do anything with them, but unfortunately, that meant that the rest of the weekend, No props were allowed whatsoever for costumes.
Wow.
They cut security down to one entrance with 3 lines, or one line with 3 like doorways. Super, bag search, metals security, the whole nine, which is idiotic because the guy got in through an unsecured door. Like, it's not like he went through security and they missed this. He got in through a door he wasn't supposed to get into. So all of that was for nothing. So that was it was bonkers. Caitlin luckily is super social media savvy, and so she followed it on Twitter. Just the nightmare of the security lines, in the beginning of summer in the desert, outside in costumes. Yeah, so we hung out at our hotel, and we played in the pool, and we went out to eat, and then around 4:30, we finally rolled over to con, and it took us like 10 minutes to get in, that late in the day. But it was, man, it was just crazy. So that added a little bit of flavor to the weekend for everyone. Nothing happened. Nothing did happen. Nothing I think was going to happen. It was eerie to see how much the absence of props kind of takes away from costumes. You don't think about it too much, but we kept looking around. I was like, oh, there's so and so without their X signature prop, or that
Yeah.
band that.
What do you do with your hands?
Exactly. And a lot of the cosplayers were sort of taking it up as like a creed. Most of them, there was a dude selling bananas, and everybody who had a gun, had a holster, had bananas in their holsters.
That's funny.
And there was a Jedi going around saying like the Sith stole my lightsaber, a little sign up. So people were trying to take it into heart, but yeah, it was with a grain of salt. But it was, I can imagine it. I think Caitlin said that they were even banning props for their masquerade, which we had talked about wanting to go see, but we couldn't. We didn't have anybody. It was starts at like 8:30 and to get the baby to bed. But yeah, I can't even imagine. We would be devastated. Our entries would never fly without all of our set pieces and props, and we would not be able to perform anything. So I'm hoping that by the time Saturday night rolled around, some of those entries, some of that was lifted, or at least relaxed for things like that, because they weren't even checking exhibitors. We had exhibitor badges, so we walked in the exhibitor entrance, and the following 2 days, and it was not a problem. So I don't know. Hopefully that didn't ruin anybody's entries for the masquerade, but overall, I mean, that since we already were kind of on a relaxed schedule, we didn't do a lot of panel hunting. We did go see a very unique experience was Dick Van Dyke.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was like
they're promoting.
He wasn't there promoting anything. He was a Arizona resident from a number of years back, not anymore, and they asked him, and he said yes, and so that was it. It was his first Comic-Con. He's 91 years old.
Did he have a panel, or what?
Yeah, they had a panel, and they just let people ask questions. They didn't. It was interesting. I liked a lot of the. It sounds like, from what I heard, a lot of the celebrity panels were a lot less of the. Comic-Con is a good balance because they are promoting things, so they want you to talk about that, but they. Excuse me, got a little con crud hanging on. But they at least they're good at splitting time between, we're going to ask you questions, promotional questions, and then Q&A to the audience. Celebration was the opposite, where it was all panel stuff, and there was almost no interaction, which was a bummer. And this was the other direction. There was like, okay, hey, here's so and so, here's a quick funny story. Let's go to the audience for questions. So it was all what the audience wants to hear. And Dick Van Dyke is like this super he's exactly who you think he is, who he appears to be. He's just kind of happy-go-lucky, and yeah, sure, I love, oh, that was so much fun. I loved doing that. My favorite song was this. Oh, let me sing a little bit for you. Blah, 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 and these funny stories from the 50s and 60s, and like the stuff he just randomly remembers. And half the time, he's 91, so somebody would ask a question and he'd start a story and it would kind of go a little over here, and he'd end up telling like a different story and maybe not really answering the question, but you didn't care because he was having so much fun telling his story that he was delighted, and you're delighted to listen to him, and it was fun. I was bummed it started late because they had to finish on time, but yeah, he was very usually the biggest panel of the weekend. Some friends of ours managed to raffle. I guess you had to raffle tickets or try to buy tickets to get in, and they did both, and so they had 2 sets of tickets, and we got some. So yay!
Nice. That's fun.
Yeah, it was. I was like, I don't know. Do you want to go see Dick Van Dyke? Sure. When the heck are we going to see Dick Van Dyke? So yeah, he was hilarious and fun, and it was great. Way to break up the day, and we sat in the back and watched the screen and let Laura turn the stroller in circles, and we had a good time.
I'm just trying to imagine if you were pressed and you had your entire collection, what card would you get him to sign? That's a tough one.
Is there like something where they're cleaning out the Buzzard collectors?
Flush Buzzard.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Chimney sweep.
Exactly. Oh my. All right. Very good.
Maybe a dial M for diagnosis murder.
Wow. All right. All right. Brilliant. Nice. And that probably ate up most of the weekend then. You were back today or yesterday?
We drove back today. So we left this morning and drove back and had a nice leisurely desert crossing. Oh man, it was so, there's a meme going around online, and it always comes up in the winter of like New York or Boston, and it's like, oh my God, the air hurts my face. Where do I live? Why do I live somewhere where the air hurts my face? And Caitlin immediately says, like, it's just like it's the same, but the other direction.
Yes. It's just it gets everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I did not spend my day at a conventions. I spent my days at a tournament of a different sort with softball players. My daughter got to play a couple of softball games at the where were we this time? Down, actually not far from Mac's old stomping grounds, Rancho Pesquitos. In fact, if you remember, there was an Adobe ranch house there that we used in the rocket race.
Okay.
Way back in the back of a park, and on the way to it, you pass several softball fields. That's where we were. Yeah. Anyway, that was several early days and long days, and that's over now. So we'll have some other, next weekend. They're playing in Carlsbad, so it will not nearly be the drive, and won't be departing before 7 in the morning.
Well, you at least had you had time to be available Sunday morning, because we had to.
I did. I had my phone as a wireless hotspot, and I had my work laptop open.
Perfect.
And at was it 9 a.m.?
9 a.m.
Noon Eastern. Gen Con event tickets went on sale. So myself and you and Mac and Mr. Chairman were all friends trying to get in. So the way that Gen Con is set up, if there's an event that you and your buddies want to do, you can all friend each other by sending a note to their email address, and if you accept, then they can buy tickets for you. So I guess it is an interesting format how they release the events to the world. Instead of just a blind website that you got to try to get into, there's a countdown, and when the countdown ends at precisely 9 a.m. our time, the button that used to say you can submit your wish list soon lights up, and you can hit submit my wish list. And previous to that, you went on and chose all the things you wanted to do, all the events that you want tickets for that were limited, and you can buy tickets for yourself and anyone in your friends group, or a second ticket for yourself. So we all tried to get into the Pathfinder card game open early on Thursday morning. We tried to get into the L5R big release event that was going on Thursday. We all tried to get into a couple other things. And I, threw in all the Tribbles events and all the other things I wanted. And at 9 o'clock, we were all online and we all hit go. And when you hit go, you're given a number in line. And it was going pretty quick. I think I started out around 4,000 or so. I think Mac was the lowest number. And you and Charlie were also in there as well. And it slowly counts down and it processes people one at a time as their number comes up. We didn't get into the L5R. We didn't get into the morning one. There were only what? There were
We
only
got
200 seats available or something like that?
200. Oh, for the open?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the L5R was 300.
300. Yeah. So all four of us tried to get tickets, missed that completely.
Yeah.
We did manage to get into Pathfinder in the morning at 8 o'clock on Thursday, right? Was it Charlie?
We got 2 tickets for that. Charlie got 2 tickets for that. I got all 4 for the Friday at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And those were the 2 slots that we all had open. We were trying to lean towards the Thursday because if the Concert Against Humanity happens, we didn't want to be rushed through the open.
Yeah.
But, having 4 tickets versus 2 tickets is probably preferable.
Yeah, agreed. I'm looking at my packets to see what I've got here. I got a bunch of stuff to pick up at Will Call. Pathfinder Card Guild, Dancing Among... Oh, yeah, so we got into True Dungeon, it looks like.
Right.
We got into a casual tournament for Legend of the Five Rings, which... Great.
This is only helpful if we can manage to get it, but that's my number one priority Thursday morning, so...
Yeah. And something called Assault on Absalom.
Yes. So that is, I think we heard about it last time, but I didn't know until too late that it was interactive. But they used to do this for D&D, and they've been doing it for Pathfinder as well, where they do a special at Gen Con every year for the Pathfinder Society, where they have everybody in one big room, like 300 tables, all playing the same game, and based on the decisions you make collectively, different groups doing different things, the story takes a turn for everyone. And like the one I played in before, like it was we were preparing for the onslaught of a dragon in this castle, and they needed 3 teams to do one of these 3 tasks. And so depending on how many different tables, you got to pick one task, and that was your adventure for the first half. And then, okay, well, this many tables decided to shore up the walls, so that much has been. This many tables will decided to set up ranged attack or whatever. So it was really cool, and it was a lot of fun. They put a lot of thought into it each year, and it looks really interesting. And recently, I think just last year, maybe 2 years ago, and I didn't know about it, but they added an ACG component. And I have no idea how it works, but I'm really interested to find out. Unfortunately, that is also on Friday night, which may or may not, which has been the Concert Against Humanity. Again, we have no proof of life that is going to happen, but we're all kind of sort of hoping that it does.
So I've got... All right, I'm looking at my list. Maybe we should probably all look at our list together. That's listed. Yeah, Friday at 8 p.m. So that's tough.
Right.
I've got an open tournament at Friday at 7 p.m. I've also got a ticket for Thursday at 8 a.m. And I think all four of us got a ticket for that. You get one for Thursday at 8 a.m.?
Did we?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll be playing that.
Is it my packet?
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I'm interested to play True Dungeon because it's been a long time since we've done that. But I found my old image of the wizard chart, with all the things that you got to memorize.
Yeah.
So I put that on my phone so I can stare at that and memorize that thing again. And boy, 2 hours. That's going to be entertaining. And it says part 2 of 2. Do we have to have done part 1, or are we just going to miss a couple of puzzles because we don't know?
No, they're never. I'm fairly positive they are never dependent. I think it's mostly for your enjoyment. If you want to, get the story, I'm sure we could probably get somebody to give us the previously.
Right. Okay. Excellent.
Mean, to be honest, this is the first time I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this is the first time parts 1 and 2 have been in the same year. So in past years, people are doing part 2 and they have never, they didn't do part 1. They've never done it before. You jump in and you do a part 3. You have no idea what's happening, or it's been a year since you played. So, that's, we've had RPGs like that. It's been a year since we played. Does anybody remember what happened last time?
Yeah, fair enough. That's going to happen at the end of the summer, I think. All right. Well, that's probably the most different tickets I've ever bought for Gen Con. I got into Tribbles at 10, Tribbles at 10 for Thursday night, Saturday night. Tribbles, those are sold out, so bring your generics.
Yep.
1E Masters, Tribbles Masters, and then, the Pathfinder card stuff. So, should be fun. I'm hoping. I still haven't said anything about the concert, but I've gone the last 2 years, and I can't imagine it wasn't successful. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, the more the successful things are, the harder they are to bring back because people want them. Somebody else wants more money, or they want to make it bigger. And I don't know. They're doing other stuff too because it's the 50th anniversary. Like there's an actual They Might Be Giants concert as part of Gen Con. It's a Gen Con event ticket. Yeah.
Interesting.
Thursday night, I think. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I hope they aren't like actively putting up a block against them, but who knows what could be causing the trouble. And it may just be it's too soon for them to actively say anything about it yet. But fingers crossed.
All right, fair enough. I'm still going to leave that open just in case because I do want to go.
Yeah.
All right. Any other Gen Con notes?
Well, I got one ticket that you did not, which was an emergency backup in case we did not get into the Thursday L5 hour tournament, which is the My Arkham Ponies Madness is Magic.
I almost said, "Hey, what's the number? I'll go ahead and buy it," but you'll have to give us a report on that in the show when we get back.
Yeah, it actually sounds pretty fun. I enjoy playing Arkham Horror. It's a well thought out game, and it sounds like it's just been skinned for My Little Pony. So I think that sounds like hilarious and a lot of fun. So I think first I'm going to try and jump in that inaugural tournament with tickets with generics. I'm still going to hold out hope, try to get into that, but if that falls through, then I'm definitely going to go have some crazy pony magic madness.
Madness.
Crazy pony magic madness.
I think if I did go, I would probably enjoy myself, but no one else would.
Yeah, that's probably true. Racist Applejack.
It's a choice. All right. We said we were going to talk about 2E. Shall we talk about that a bit? Just in
It's
time for you to mute yourself.
yeah, yeah. Well, if you don't have anything good to say.
Wow.
No, I
24
know.
cards have been spoiled so far, and I think you mentioned something before we started recording that it seems to be kind of thematically scattered.
Yeah, I'm waiting for sort of the through line, and they've mentioned a couple of things in articles, but it just seems really scattered right now. And I'm looking at there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different affiliation personnel and or ships
Well, I gotta say,
spoiled.
one of the things I had asked, in the discussion thing was for the 1E side, that 50th set that came out had so many different decks. I look at this card, I want to build a deck. I look at this card, I want to build a deck. I said that they were
Sure.
kind of going for something similar, with a lot of single cards that turn on an entire deck type or enhance a deck type. So maybe that was the theme. Again, we were going to talk to Ross, but our invitation was sent out too late, and that's on us. So we'll try to do that next week. And
I feel like it'll be more fun next week because he'll be able to say more. I don't know, the preview interviews are always kind of like, well, we can't really talk too much about that yet or whatnot. So hopefully
it releases this Friday, so 3 days after we'll get them on, and maybe we can get some stories about some of the cards that get spoiled on release day, and things that don't get enough talk about in the build up beforehand.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
All
So
right, then.
Ross, if you're listening, sorry that we didn't get back to you quickly enough, but hopefully you'll be free to join us next week, and we can talk about 0 Hour in greater detail.
Very good.
In the meantime,
Yeah,
I think that's.
Do we have anything on our calendar coming up locally?
I feel confident we had a tournament coming up this Saturday, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. I thought we had a 1E. Oh no, that's for the 11th, not this weekend. So that's week after this. No, well, that's 2E. That's a Sunday. That's right. Wow, 7-1. We have 7-1 constructed 1E. Wow. So June 11th is 2E. July 1st is 1E. We have been getting a request because we have an out-of-town player coming to visit this week, but it was somewhat last minute. I didn't see it because I was out of town. Yeah. But it sounds like we might be trying to throw something together impromptu for midweek or Saturday, but unfortunately I won't be able to join in any of those festivities. Just too short notice, and I already have plans committed to Star Wars Legoland weekends next Saturday. So,
and I will be at more softball.
More softball.
Yeah, for the next, rest of the month. Okay, well, then let's come back and talk about second edition next week. We'll have the full set to look at, and hopefully we'll have a guest. Sound like a plan?
I like it. All right. In the meantime,
interrupt you wrapping up
again. That is it for our intelligence this week. I hope to see you next week. Talk about 0 Hour and other things. In the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the 2E universe if, that's your thing.
And I'll, back in the day, spend 7 counters to draw 7 cards to end.